Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm back to talk about Legacies, episode 103, titled We're Being Punked Pedro, which premiered Thursday, November 8th, 2018 on the CW. I'm recording roughly an hour after the episode has finished, so huge spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first, and then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. Otherwise, my other video reminders are up on screen. Take a moment to remind yourselves of those. So I'm going to try to do this in 15 minutes, so I'm going to start the clock, and let's begin with what happened in this episode. So, the episode quote, We're Being Punked Pedro, was said in this episode by Lizzie to little Pedro. And he was I think maybe he was one of the elementary students. So yeah, they didn't really pinpoint a certain age for him. But anyways, timeline-wise though, I believe it's the day after the last events of episode 102, and which ended with the gargoyle coming to life at the end of the day. Huge episode reminder. I'm gonna have to say that we got to see the return of Jeremy Gilbert, last seen in the series finale of the Vampire Diaries, which took place about 12 years ago, technically, in their universe, I think. Gee, I don't know. I think. Anyways, when the twins were little kids, when the twins were at least 3. So there's that. I believe it's 12 years. But anyways, the featured creature of the episode is the gargoyle. It's said to, or mythology states that it's meant to be a protector of sorts. In this case, the protector for the humans they love to serve, from my understanding. So there's that. So the episode breakdown of I pretty much picked up on 3 different storylines. 2 of them tend to kind of coincide with each other or end up converging to be connected. But first one having to deal with research on the next creature. Second one being community service. And the third one being survival out in the woods. So with the first storyline with the research, it was mainly focused around the gargoyle attacking the school. We actually see a flashback to 14th century France that featured the gargoyle protecting the dagger and those who tried to take it from him. And we see in this episode the gargoyle is trying to get the dagger back. Also in this episode, when we learn that gargoyles are meant to be protectors, it is shown that it views Alark as the human it wants to protect, since Alark is, as far as we know, Alark's the only human in a school full of supernatural beings. Except Dorian. I believe Dorian is still human too, but you get my gist there. So also, after the end of this whole debacle with the gargoyle, Alark actually tells the students about the truth behind the gargoyle and about the dragon that just happened, and how there's a potential possible threat of more creatures coming because they want the dagger, which they're still trying to figure out what it's meant to do. But it seems like all these creatures want the dagger, and because they're not giving it to them, they kind of see them as like their villains. Which kind of ties in with the whole theme of the show being heroes and villains, and it really depends who you ask. Because a person could be both a hero and a villain, a hero to their own story, but a villain to another story. So I'll leave it at that. Second storyline deals with community service. So this happened because Alark is putting punishment on the students' part of the flag football game because they disobeyed his order to kind of fail against the Timberwolves. And they kind of risk exposing themselves. Plus also Hope is tagged into this because of her use of dark magic. Or was it black magic? I keep forgetting which term they use. So there's that. But in this little storyline, we do see the characters divided. We see Hope and Josie going off to do the trash pickup. And then we see Lizzie, MG, and Caleb having to deal with graffiti cleanup. But that trio ends up getting a very tense encounter with the Timberwolves, which are just douchebags to begin with, and the biggest bullies ever. And it's awful, but then it also is pretty ironic considering they're human and they're bullying creatures that could easily kill them with either a snap of the neck, both magically, physically, or just a bite of some, right? And they're taunting the beings that could easily kill them. So it's a little ironic there if I'm using the term right. But anyways, so community service kind of deals with that. Also with Hope and Josie, we see them later on. Plus with Lizzie being connected to the gargoyle storyline. So there's that. Third storyline deals with ward survival, and that's pretty much focusing on Landon and Raphael's attempts to survive on their own. They tried doing the whole camping thing, living off the land, but then Landon gets the idea of using Raphael's werewolf skills to their advantage by placing bets against unsuspecting humans, and then Raphael just pulling the wool over their eyes by scaling tall buildings with his skills and beating the odds type of thing. This, however, grabs the attention of unwanted hunters from the looks of it, but they are saved by Jeremy Gilbert, who Alaric contacted to have him track them down and bring them back to school. So that's awesome. But moving on to the last scene of the episode, shows Dana and Sasha, best friends and Timberwolves, being attacked on the outskirts of the Salvatore property. They were there because they wanted to graffiti the school. I mean, how lowly immature could you get? Like, really? They really need to be punished for all this vandalism stuff. Like, isn't that like illegal or something? So there's that. But anyways, let's move on to characters. So Dorian Williams, we see once again, not only trying to teach class for witches, but also he's kind of the chaperone for the kids who are supposed to be doing community service. We also see him doing research for the gargoyle. But at the end of the episode, we see that he is later entrusted with the knife to keep it safe. At least that was my understanding of it. So there's that. Also, character Emma, the counselor. We find out in this episode that she's a witch. And she does a cloaking spell or a concealment spell to protect the students against the gargoyle. But also we find out as a counselor, she's meant to counsel everybody, including Dorian. She even mentioned that he missed one of their sessions, a first for him to do. And she also kind of alluded the fact that maybe Alaric was meant to get some counseling from her too. I don't know. But there's that. Also, we meet little Pedro. Now, not much is shown, but he does have an interaction with Lizzie to the point that like they're on a first name basis and such. So that's always good. But then it's possible that Pedro is also a potential witch, because we do see Lizzie siphoning some magic, some power from him. Now, now as a siphon, I believe she could take magic from any magical being. So Pedro could be, well, Lizzie, we've seen, can take it from other witches. She could take it from other vampires. But I can't recall if she's ever, or if as siphons, they could take it from werewolves. But we do see her do that. So at least that's why I'm thinking Pedro is a little witch there. Or warlock, however you want to call him. So there's that. Also with Lizzie, though, we find out that her favorite snack is brownies. And MG knows that specifically. So that was a little tidbit there. But also we see with Caleb, the vampire, he believes, well, in this episode, it really focuses on the fact that he believes that he is better than humans, or I guess they are better than humans because they're supernatural, they're enhanced, they're better, pretty much the better species, I guess, than the lowly humans, as he puts, I think he puts it, but we do see him putting that to the test when he is actually found feeding off of Dana and then compelling her to forget everything. So using her as a human blood bag, as we know vampires tend to do on this show. So there's that. Also, now that I'm talking about Dana, we find out that Dana is actually using MG to make her best friend's boyfriend jealous. How lowly can you get? I mean, seriously. So there's that. We find out about this because while MG is making out with Dana, he finally compels her to tell him the truth, and she does. And then after learning the truth, he compels her to just forget about the whole makeout session and go about his day. Because now that he knows, as he says, if he continues forward, he's taking advantage of her, and he says that his mama didn't raise him like that. So there's that. MG is starting out to be a good guy when it comes to his morals, especially in comparison to Caleb, I think. So there is that. And also, we finally get a mention of Caroline Forbes. Even though she's not featured in the episode, we do hear her. And apparently she is away on long recruitment missions, which kind of puts a bit of strain on Lizzie, who's really missing her mom so much. And we hear this news from Josie, who's telling it to Hope. So finally, I got an answer as to why the head mistress is not present at this school. So there's that. Now moving on to tidbits, because that was pretty long for characters. But tidbits, we get reconfirmation once again that Hope and the Saltzman twins have known each other for the last 10 years. we also get a little bit of the fact that Josie mentions how everyone at the school thought Haley was beautiful. Haley is Hope's mother. And they also mentioned Josie kind of made a comment about the fact that, like, we should have gotten you flowers. And then Hope says, well, you did. Well, and that was done because Alark had given Hope and the family flowers for Haley's death, and Alark had signed the twins' names on it as well. So that's a little something there to at least show that during that time in her life, like, even though the twins were at odds, they kind of were aware of, like, the loss that Hope had dealt with. So there's that. Also, Hope's Aunt Freya was mentioned in regards to a projection spell, I think it was, that Hope used to kind of get a lock on Landon and during their time in the woods. So there's that. Also, from this episode, I got the impression that classes aren't divided by age or by grade, I guess you can say, because we do see Hope and the Saltzman twins both in the same class in regards to spellcasting, which Dorian was teaching, and we know that Hope and the twins have a 2-year age gap between them, so 17 and 15. So it might be that the supernatural subjects might be skill-based, maybe, I don't know, or maybe just anyone who wants to learn or needs to learn gets put in the same class, or I don't know, but it's definitely not by age. So there's that. Also, we get another bit of twin power here in the form that, like, sympathy pains. This is felt when Josie keeps feeling like this cramping feeling in her stomach, which parallels to Lizzie's paralysis spreading due to her encounter with the gargoyle. And also made a comment about the fact that Lizzie was saved because of Josie's magic. So I don't know if maybe Josie siphoned the gargoyle's magic from Lizzie or something. I don't know. But that was kind of what was said. But anyways, let's move on to most shocking moment of the episode. I really had to think hard about this one for some reason. Like, I didn't get a shocked, oh my god type of moment. But I guess in the moment, it would have to be Alark jumping in front of the gargoyle when the gargoyle was about to attack Hope. In that moment, it was an oh my god moment, but then after the explanation behind it, it kind of lost its flair. So I'll give it to that one there. But let's move to top 3 favorite moments. I will have to say I really like the growing bond between Hope and Josie. I really like the fact that it was Hope that made the first step, I believe, in confiding to Josie and telling her the truth, or telling as much of the truth as she could without revealing the whole dragon situation that happened, and then kind of having Josie reciprocate that type of openness between them. It was really something to get the ball rolling, because even Josie brought up the fact, like, why do you have to be so hostile with us? We've known each other for 10 years type thing, and then it kind of went back and forth to be the point that I really liked that they were truthful with each other. Also, another moment I didn't mention was that Hope accidentally spiked her own foot when she was doing the litter paper thing, and she made a comment about the fact that she could heal herself. So either... Now, the only thing I'm confused is she healing herself through the werewolf regeneration that she has, like that fast healing she has as a werewolf? Is she doing it because she's a spell of a witch, or is her vampire side kicking in? It wasn't really clear about that, but she did make a comment about the fact that she could heal herself. So I'll leave it at that. But I do like the progress between Hope and Josie. I'm definitely seeing a lot more than it happening with Hope and Lizzie. They definitely seem to be butting heads a lot. I mean, I don't blame them, right? So there's that. Another favorite I liked was Alark protecting Hope, and also including her as if, like, she was his third daughter or something, because when the Saltzman twins were summoned to talk to Alark and be told their punishment of community service, Hope was included in that as well. And it was the whole spiel about how, like, my love for my daughters was overpowering the rage I had or at the moment or something. Hope was kind of included in that conversation. And it was just like, I like it because it really did feel like she is part of his family. Even though he's headmaster and stuff, I don't really think that if she were any other student, he would lump them together with his daughters the way he did in that scene. or he would keep it more professional, or he would have just told his daughters and then just took whatever other student aside to tell them as well. So it was really interesting that he's including her the way he is. I'm liking it though, because again, 10 years plus the history between the two is, I'm liking the progress. I can't wait to see how much more what their dynamic is like. Plus, I could see how the twins are jealous of the relationship that Alark has with Hope, and how they kind of see, because of that, they kind of see Hope as the prodigal daughter that they don't want in their family type thing, because she's not actually part of the family. So it was very interesting to see, but I'll leave it at that. And there's my timer, which I'm not even done yet. Oh my god. I ramble a lot. I'm sorry. But another favorite moment has to be Jeremy Gilbert. So glad we got to see him again. We did find out that sometimes Alark calls on him to do some jobs for him, which he does. So that's great. It still looks like Jeremy's still in the supernatural hunt business, as he said he would do in season 6 when he first left and said goodbye to Alark. So there's that. In this case, he was meant to go and track down Landon and Raphael. So maybe Alark, or not maybe Alark recruits Jeremy that way to kind of look out and scout potential students out, maybe, and kind of report back to Alark to say, like, yeah, this is something that you could be interested in, maybe. I don't know. But it was great to see Jeremy back. It's great to see that he put in the fact that, like, I knew Alark as a kid, and now I kind of do these jobs for him and such. And I like that he's still skilled in his field. So I'm glad to see Jeremy back. I hope we see him again, whether doing some special lectures at the school or maybe as another recruitment thing. But I really hope we do get to see Jeremy again. And I will say another favorite of mine, or a bonus favorite, I love it when we see those aerial shots of the school property. I mean, I do not remember ever getting that on the Vampire Diaries, and just like I remember seeing like the outside view of like the front, but that's about it, and you see how massive it was. But to see the aerial views of the property that we get now, it seems like the property is so much larger than I would have anticipated on the Vampire Diaries. So I just love those shots. They're beautiful, and I hope we get more of them. So I'll leave it at that. Now, top 3 peeved moments. I only got 2. But the first peeve I have is, it was tricky because on the one hand, in the moment, it was my shocking moment. And it was when Alark was stepping in front of the gargoyle to protect Hope. In that moment, I was like, oh, he instinctively went in front to protect Hope, as like the whole third daughter type thing I'm kind of going for here. But then later on to be told that Alark only did that because he knew the gargoyle wouldn't hurt him, it kind of took away from the fact that he made that move and made that potential sacrifice because he was protecting Hope, instead of just like, oh, I knew it because it wouldn't hurt me. So it wasn't a move it wasn't a choice I really had to wrestle with type thing, right? It just took away from what could have been like, I did it because I cared about you, or I did it because you're like a daughter to me type thing, and I need to protect you. Doing it that way, and then like having that mindset and going into something and then you not knowing if you're going to survive or not, that means a lot more than like if you're just going in, you go like, oh, I knew nothing would happen to me, so I did it type thing. So like that's kind of what a peeve was, and that's kind of why it didn't turn out to be the shocking moment for me, because like Alark's claims for Josie to put her mind at ease was the fact that, oh, I did it because I knew nothing would happen to me. That made it a peeve for me, because I wanted him to be that protective for Hope as well. Even though she's as strong and powerful as she is, she's still a kid, and she still needs someone to look after her type thing. So yeah, there's that. Another peeve I had was the fact that MG started talking to Dana while Lizzie was standing right in front of him. Like, I get you're crushing on Lizzie and you want to make her jealous so that she notices you, but I always hate that because it's just like, that's mixed signals right there. How is a girl supposed to know you're only doing that to get her jealous? She can easily think that, oh, you're doing it because you don't actually like me. I mean, like, stick to your loyalties, man. Not only is this girl bullying your crush, you're supposed to stand up for them. That's way better to get her to notice you than to go and flirt with the bully and show your crush that you're pretty much abandoning your loyalty to her, right? So it's just like, and I get that Lizzie could stand up for herself, but it's like, if it feels better if the person who, it would have felt better if MJ like stood in Lizzie's corner than going over to the dark side and standing with her bully's side, right? So it's just like, it was such a pee for me that his need to make Lizzie jealous had him staring to the enemy, essentially. I mean, I hate that stupid game of like, you like me, you don't like me, this is for jealousies, it's not. It's just like, ugh. So anyways, moving on to what moment will I remember most when I look back on this episode. Jeremy, Gilbert, and then the gargoyle. I truly thought he would be connected with the gargoyle or something, but it was great to see that he was still connected in a major way. So there's that. Moving on to random questions, though. First one being, if Dorian is taking the knife away from the school, I mean, that was my impression after all, does that mean this is a temporary end to his time at the school? I mean, I thought we were going to get him in a recurring capacity, but I guess 2 episodes in was just too much to ask for, right? But I seriously thought when they were showing that scene, and then how, like, Alark was talking about how, like, the dagger was like a beacon for all the creatures to come to the school to take it. I thought when they gave the impression that he was going to send the knife away somewhere safe so that the creatures couldn't find it, I thought Alark was going to give the knife to Jeremy. Because, I mean, that would have made sense as to why they would bring him in this episode to begin with. But to find out that it's going with Dorian, I was a little surprised by that. Because, like, with Jeremy, he has all these skills with, like, fighting and protecting himself. It'd be a lot better if, like, a creature were to come after him. But for Dorian, he's more, like, book smart than, like, actual, like, fighter, street smart type thing. Or that's my impression anyways. But, yeah. Or is Dorian going to be traveling with Jeremy with the knife? That's another possibility as well. So there's that. Another question is, why are the creatures coming for the knife now? Is it possible that the containment case the knife was originally in was a way to keep the creatures at bay, or maybe to cloak its whereabouts or something? Or, I don't know. But this knife seems to have, like, a huge purpose for, like, all these different creatures to be coming after it. And I'm very interested to see what that is. So there's that. So moving on to predictions, though, very quickly, based off the promo for 104, it looks like Dana is killed by a vampire bite, and we see this being told to us by Sheriff Matt Donovan, who is back again, and he's telling Alark about this kill. Also, it looks like Caleb is the suspect since he was last seen feeding on Dana, and it looks like we see Lizzie siphoning some magic from MG before they go and try to get Caleb for themselves. So there is that. Moving on, those for the synopsis for 104, it reads that when 2 local students go missing, Alark sends Hope, Lizzie, MG, and Landon to Mystic Falls High to investigate. Meanwhile, as Josie helps Raphael adjust to his new life at the school, his reluctance to follow the wolf pack's rules puts a target on his back. Lastly, an unsettling discovery puts Alark and Sheriff Donovan at odds with one another. Okay, that just also reminded me of the fact that Hope is now aware that Josie also has a crush on Raphael, but Lizzie has dibs on him. And Hope was saying, well, why does Lizzie always get dibs? When is it your turn type of thing? I forgot to mention that. So the fact that, like, that was questioned was pretty cool. But anyways, based off the synopsis, missing 2 students is going to be Dana and Sasha, for sure. So it'll be interesting to see how that's going to happen. It's going to be interesting to see how Hope, Lizzie, MG, and Landon are going to be able to investigate at Mystic Falls High without bringing any questions towards why they're there. So there's that. I hope when we see Matt Donovan, it's more than like the 2 minutes we got of him in the series premiere. I hope it's a few more scenes in this episode, kind of either in collaboration with the investigation or being at odds with the Lark about, like, the agreement the town had with the school or something. But I definitely can't wait to see what happens next. But that's about it, guys. So what did you guys think of this episode? What did you guys like about it? What do you think is going to happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your own thoughts, theories, and predictions about what you think is going to happen. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. Also, if you want, check out my Tumblr page. Link for that is down below. I read blog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all found in one place. So go check that out. I also post them in connection with my WordPress account. Link for that is down below. Everything I post online is connected to that website. It's more organized. It's a little more detailed. It's still a work in progress, though, so keep that in mind. And I'm also trying to update the two as best I can, so please be patient with me. But otherwise, guys, that's pretty much it. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you come back next week to see what I have to say about the next episode. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.